Na pivawuna niake Janet alito sio gwena kulmante ansti huntirish medawika Mike Heinepe Chokma Stongo Oshkinyacha Good morning. Coming live from 1950 South Shepherd. I am the amazing. My name is
One
Barry
and
Boat.
only.
Would you like to introduce yourself, ma'am?
Yes, my name is Brittany Pratt. Thankful to be here today. So,
And what nations do you hail from?
come from the Chickasaw Choctaw tribes.
Halito.
Chicmaw.
Well, thank you for joining me today. Well, the rest of the crew is Mingo went to go dance, I believe. I think him and Courtney, or maybe I'm not sure where he's at, but I believe he went to go dance. And then the rest of the crew, Shayna's in doing training with Christina and Melinda in Albuquerque, but Ron, Darian, Desiree, Theta, Tatum, and Carmelo all went to the Raw luncheon in Shawnee, which Raw stands for Recovery Action Wellness, and I believe it's put on by Gateway, one of the programs over there in Shawnee, and it's a great present. You know, they have a speaker, and the speaker is Drew Cook. And if you're not familiar, here in Oklahoma, Drew Cook was, he founded the Shred the Stigma program. Well, not really a program, but the foundation. He's the founder of it, and they do a lot of harm reduction, do a lot of great work here in Oklahoma City. Well, he took a rest from that, and now I think he does more of an independent type thing where he's like on a overdose team. But I mean, he has a great story. He has a great story. He was kind of our introduction into harm reduction. Like he kind of took us under his wing, allowed us to allow. Oh, just in time. You got time? Yes. Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. Yes. Just in time. Uncle's just in time. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
I'm Ron Cawley. I work with a tour program outside Clinton. I've been there since March 24th.
How many years of what's your sobriety date?
August 30th, 1999, which gives me over 26 years consecutive.
Even on the weekends, huh?
Even on the weekends, holidays.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you timed it perfect.
I
Came
just
in.
came to drop off.
I know came to drop something off.
And some hygiene products for you guys.
Yeah.
I brought a couple of cases of those so we can you guys can hand them out.
Yeah. Well, glad you could come on. Just kind of threw you in the fire. But you're always up to it. That's one good thing is, you're always ready to share a little bit. I was talking about where everyone was at today. So what was y'all were at camp the other day? Was you there?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay. Well, I mean, just from your experience, like what is that like?
the camp in Oklahoma
Yeah, in
City.
Oklahoma City.
It's pretty good. We get a lot of people that come up there, and they need different things from us, and not only do they get products and harm reduction products, but they get some information too, and I was actually I got to meet my first cousin's daughter up there, and I knew about her. I knew her name, but I'd never met her,
Uh-huh.
and that was
Yeah.
kind of neat. And I'm hoping to see her again. And the phone number we got for her is not working anymore, so
Uh-huh.
I want to see her again and try to at least stay in contact with her.
Definitely. And it's just one of those things, like I think it's cool that you knew exactly who she was. Like as soon as she said her name, you went, well, who's your mom? And I think she was probably just as surprised as as anybody would be to be so far away from home,
Yeah,
and then to find your relative. That's pretty cool. To see how those things develop. And and sometimes you might just be that, might just be that light, for a person, and those things just happen randomly. So can you go to the comments?
Okay. It looks like we got a couple.
Yeah, could you go ahead and
probably Ruth.
Okay. Got one from a Brianna Rochelle. Rochelle. Good morning, Dad.
good morning, baby? That's my daughter.
Okay. And then Jeremy Harjo.
Stongo.
I think that's what he said. Hints. How you say hints? Hints.
Che.
Hinche. Oh, Hinche. Stone.
Stongo.
Stongo.
Che.
Good
Chaban.
morning in a good way.
Good morning. Good morning.
So
Stongo the way.
then Ruth Bear Shield said, not yet, too early.
Is she outside?
No,
Oh, she didn't come with you?
no, she didn't. She was just now because I left early this morning.
Oh yeah.
She was still getting coffee, and she had that sleepy walk. And rubbing eyes over her eyes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Well, good morning, Ruth. Good morning, Auntie.
she worked hard yesterday for a church and made some meatloaf. It made
Wow.
us a small pan of meatloaf. Man, we tore that thing up, man. Me and my boy, there was nothing left.
Yeah. Yeah, I love me some
So
meatloaf.
it was pretty good, Ruth.
Well, that's cool. I had beans and cornbread last night.
That sounds
I
good
would have
too.
traded you.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. That's why I didn't go to Shawnee. Too long of a ride for
Yeah.
me. Too many whistleberries.
Yeah. Processing all the way. Probably
So
get dropped off somewhere.
yeah. So but I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was good. It was real good. I could eat that damn near every day.
Mhm.
I really like that meal.
Yeah.
So
What's neat is Ruth makes skillet bread like my mom used to make. Oh
Mm.
man. And she makes her potato salad. I don't know if it's by accident or on purpose, but she makes her potato salad kind of taste like my mom's.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, cool. I could do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. I always make sure to save a piece of skillet bread for in the morning because I'll heat
Oh,
that
yeah.
sucker up and
Yeah.
sitting there watching the news, drinking coffee, eating some skillet bread with nothing on it. I don't have to have
Yeah.
honey
Yeah.
on it or nothing, peanut butter. I'll eat it just plain.
Oh yeah. Making me hungry.
Yeah. You want China King? Yeah.
I know, right?
Gotta punch you in the face.
Oh.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Well, it's been kind of eventful, I guess. Kind of around town. Elections are over. I was saying the other day, everyone can put their fangs up. Everybody can clip their nails.
Yeah.
Like everybody. I hope it kind of tones down. It's kind of like it's an odd season. Like
Yeah.
to watch our people. Get ugly. Like I don't know. I don't enjoy it.
I don't either. I think like politics on any level, it's what you make out of it. You can just run on your own merits, your own accomplishments,
Then
your own
yeah,
accolades, and you don't have
definitely.
to drag anybody through the mud.
Mhm.
You could share your vision. This is what I want to do. This is the next 4 years, next 2 years, whatever it
Yeah,
might be. And you don't have to point fingers.
yeah. Drag somebody
I
through the
know,
mud.
call names and, you know, different stuff like that. You know, when one person does it, the other people don't have to react to it, but they usually end up doing, well, your kids got adopted out,
Yeah,
It's like,
just get ugly.
I know it, man. I know. It's like,
It's
we don't even know
just
who your mama is,
yeah,
golly. But it don't have to be like that. And people let it be like that, they make it like that. And
Mhm.
that's not the way we grew up. We're not supposed to do that to each other,
yeah. Bit hearts. Like that's their way. Like, and our people just I don't know, like and I see, like I think about how many people voted.
Yeah.
We have over 12,000 people that are able to vote. Of voting age,
Yeah.
and there's such a big disconnect. Like it gets so ugly, and then like I don't. Who wants anything to do with that?
Yeah. People say,
Mhm.
I don't even care
I don't.
anymore.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
even want anything to do with that.
Exactly. That's what happens.
And then and I'm not saying because I believe in that AA tradition. We don't endorse or nor do we oppose any causes. I feel like we have to stay like we have to stay neutral, to let people know like, hey, this is what we're about over here.
Yeah.
We're about helping out the next person. We're about helping out people that are suffering some substance use. And I would hate
Yeah.
to ever think that politics play a part in, like in doing that service to our people.
If,
You know?
if you're trying to help an addict, all these little things they fall off to the side. Whether you voted or whether you're from Canton or whether you're Cheyenne or you're Rapo or
Yeah.
you're Republican or Democrat or
Yeah.
and if you're out of state in district, you live in the city. All that doesn't even really
Mm,
matter. What's real is this person needs help. This is how we can help.
yeah.
We can do this much. And when you get out, we can help this much more.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So, and that's what it's all about. You gotta, the Republicans, Democrats, I could do
Blood
this, I could,
crip. Yeah.
you gotta drop all them ego trips, man,
Yeah, for
and just
sure.
say, how can I help you?
What can I do?
It's like
What can I
Jerry
do?
Maguire, help me help you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Do we have any more comments, Britt?
Yes. Stacy Star said good
Good
morning.
morning,
Oh,
sis.
back to Ruth Bearshirt. She said good morning to you both.
Thank you.
Brian Johnson said Chukma
Chokma. Jimmy
and
Chokma.
Jimmy Chukma. And Drew Wilson said good
Good morning,
morning.
little brother. That's my little brother.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Brianna's my daughter. Drew's my little brother.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, that's kind of, and maybe I don't know, like maybe I play into kind of because it's entertaining to me. Like I don't know, like I don't know why. Maybe there's something wrong with me, but like to see, like I don't know, it's just a weird time for our tribe, and I hate that
Mhm.
we have to go through that, but then like I'm just I'm just ready for it all to be over with.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is entertaining, but you have to think about this is what I say about myself. I'm sicker than some, but not as sick as others,
Yeah.
So, I don't even get on politics pages or anything anymore. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not even sure why I'm still a member. I need to probably just.
I know,
I've got
right?
more important things to do
Yeah,
to worry about. You know, and what a long time ago, one because gossip is like I don't know, man. It is like a disease with us or
yeah.
something. You know, because it's like this one girl come up to me and goes, "Oh, I don't know, but I guess." And I go, "Wait a minute, wait a minute. You don't know, but you guess." You know, you're fixing to tell me some kind of tidbit, about somebody, but you don't know, you guess. That means you weren't there,
Yeah.
so and it just kind of stops them in their tracks, I mean, so because, there's two sides to every story.
Mhm.
I would just say there's two sides to every story, then there's the truth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's usually how it goes around here.
Mhm.
But I mean, I feel like it also can be used like as a tool as to not to like be like, this is what you don't do, but maybe find an approach that a respectable approach. When I was thinking about the C2 candidates, JR is my bro, and I love Bobby. Bobby N. She's always been good to me. Just like JR, they've always been good to me. And to see the way that they were still like talking good about each other after the fact,
Yeah.
like man, like that's what I look up to. That's when I want to think about politics, that's the relationships that I want to see happening. They congratulated each other, and they, like they had a good conversation, after the results, and it's like, man, I can respect that, so I mean, it's got to start somewhere, and I'm not saying like that all the other candidates weren't like that, but
That's what you saw.
yeah, that's what was, I got to see that, and I love that for this community. So I mean, it's definitely something that I can hold on to. For both of those people. For both of those people. I see Bobby like every day,
Yeah.
but she's been like I've known Bobby since she was a nurse at IHS. She's always been good to me, and of course, Jr. is my bro. Like he's one of my childhood friends. So I don't know. It's
But it's good to see. But I think both of them realize that winning as a legislator is the seen world,
yeah,
and in the unseen world,
yeah,
the creator is saying, no, I need you over there to finish doing
yeah,
that right now. 4 years, I'm gonna move you over here.
yeah.
And I think maybe they're aware of it. Okay, the creator wants me over here. The creator wants me to stay here. And when
Hmm.
you're aware of that, you're not just living in man's world, but you're living in the unseen world, in the spirit world, then okay, this is a sign creator wants me here. So if it happens, it happens when creator wills it. If it
Yeah,
don't happen, the creator says he's not saying no, he's just saying
that's not for
not this
you.
time,
Yeah,
maybe next
it's
time,
not for you.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, and I think when you're aware and you're trying to live in the creator's will, things like that are,
Trying to have control.
yeah, things like that are just, okay, well, congratulations. I think you're going to do great, and you're aware that the creator wants me over here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Like me and I had a family member. We were messaging last night, and we had, it was just one of those things where, I was like, that's not yours to be carrying around. Like you shouldn't be carrying those things with you. Like that's not for you. And just kind of talked about, like where are you at, spiritually, emotionally, mentally? Where do people, places, and thing affect your physical? like how, where are you allowing God into your life to do his job? And though these are things that I have to ask myself every day. Like I got to ask myself these things every day. Like where am I feeling like my control is taking over? And I start doing what Barry wants to do. I start doing same things, because I got a slick mouth,
Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
I always want to, I always got something to say, and I'm always a smart ass,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
but, at the same time, I know when I start taking things personally, and I start trying to direct traffic, and I start trying to not only run my life, but I want to run your life too, like that's, and that's what I was told is that alcoholics number one, his first dilemma realizing it is his lack of power. That's alcoholics number one dilemma
yeah.
is
I mean, we
realizing.
all want to do that
Yeah.
as alcoholics and addicts. We all want to be the director of the play, and you go over here, you go
Yeah.
here.
You say
When I
this.
say
Yeah.
this, that's your cue,
Yeah.
and we
You
need to
feel this
say,
way. Yeah.
you can do the backdrop, And I mean, we're all, and we want to sit out there and watch it and make sure everybody's
In their
where they're supposed to
place.
be,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it just doesn't work like that. There's
Mm.
only one man behind the curtain, and so,
Yeah.
or woman.
Yeah. Do we have any more comments?
Yes. Let's go back. Oh, JC Tawny Beasley said good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in.
Randy, is it
Nolene.
Nolan? Said good morning, fellas.
Yakia brother.
Laura Candy said, morning, brothers.
Good morning, sister.
Creator is awesome.
Hey.
And Leslie Boatone said, good morning, brother.
Good morning, sis.
Quentin Simmons, good
Sesame.
morning, Sesams.
Mhm.
Morning, Uck.
Good morning, nephew.
Mary Faye Black Isle said,
Hey, kick a deuce.
have a great day, fellas, and the rest who are all striving for a better day and future in sobriety.
Durahe. Durahe.
Mm.
I believe that's how you say it. Did I say it right? Let me know if I said it right, Mary Faye. Durahe. It is good.
Sounds like that. Yeah,
Durahe.
I think so. Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
sounds
Pawnee for
about
it
right.
is good.
Yeah.
It is good. See? Hello. Rick. Well, what do you think? I was gonna let Brittany go ahead and get off into this reading. If you want to go ahead and click on it.
Yeah, I can.
All right. There we go.
Okay, for today, November 6th, it is well to be good to women in the strength of our manhood, because we must sit under their hands at both ends of our lives. That is from He Dog, Oglala,
Oglala.
Oglala, Lakota. And this next reading, the woman brings us into this life and nurtures us as we grow up. When we reach our manhood, she supports us and sings us the songs to help the family grow. The elders say we must look at the women in a sacred way. We must realize how special her powers are in bringing forth life. The woman will bring balance to a man. The woman will help him see. It is said behind every successful man is a supporting woman. Maybe we should examine how we are thinking about women. The Great Spirit says we should honor them. Are we respecting and honoring our women today?
You want to read that prayer down in the corner?
Yes. The prayer, grandmother, grandfather, thank you for our women. Today, let me honor them.
Mm. Would you want me to go first? You want to go first?
I was talking to some people, and we were talking about healing and healing in the household, and I was talking about how for so long the women have been taking care of the household.
Yeah.
The cooking, the cleaning, the raising the children, you know, different things that need fixing, getting the kids to school, you know, getting everything together, you know, keeping and running that household, you know. And I was talking to some guys, and I was telling them, you know, I said it's no longer fair, you know. We have to get up and we have to do something, and we have to help, you know, heal this household, you know. You know, you can't find a job, get in there and bust some suds, you know, sweep, mop, clean off the table, make sure the
Yeah.
trash is out. Get out there
Mhm.
and mow that yard. You know, get up early in the morning, go wake your kids up, get them, start helping them get ready. Let your wife sleep in once in a while. Let her
Amen.
rest up, you know. And that's the way it is in our household.
Mhm.
On weekends, I do my own laundry. I mean, I do my own laundry regardless, but uh, I'll run just piping hot soapy water for dishes. So hot I can't put my hands in it, you know. And I'll start my laundry, let them dishes soak, and I'll go back in there and wash them, and
Yeah.
sometimes clean off the stove. Sometimes I'll sweep mop, and I'll be like moving chairs and tables and moving stuff out, and do it, you know, once in a while, you know. And the next day I might be out there mowing the yard, you know, or you know, trying to fix this or trying to do something, you know. But it takes more than one person to really make that household balanced. And we talked about polarities. When you believe in polarities,
Yeah.
the good, the evil, the hot, the cold, up, down, left, right, you know. And without one polarity in the household, it puts a strain on the other one, you know.
Mhm.
And it may be vice versa. It may be a single dad trying to do all that, you know. But um, for so long, women have carried the weight of the household, you know. And most of the women I know really don't mind. They'll do it.
Oh yeah.
They'll get up and do it, especially Native women.
Mhm.
They will get up, go do it, make
Mhm.
sure it's done. You know, they'll stare at you the whole time they're doing it. But,
Yeah.
That mean mug, that mean face.
you
Oh,
know, but,
look.
you know, at some point, it doesn't cost any money to go get your kids up and get them dressed and get them ready for school. That doesn't cost any money
Mhm.
to get up
Mhm.
early, let your wife sleep in, you know, make sure coffee's ready, you know, in the morning, you know. And, you know, Ruth does that for me from time to time. She'll set the timer on the coffee pot and everything's ready to
Mhm.
go. When I wake up in the morning at 5 a.m., I can smell the coffee, you know. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, cool, you know. And it's kind of like a little surprise. Hey, I made coffee for you, you know. And that's a treat. And you know, what she's saying is, I appreciate what you do around here.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying when I go in there and bust suds and wipe the counters off and the stuff. I'm saying I appreciate what you do for our house and our family, you
Mhm.
know. And so we've got to always like it shows her respect and honor, but it also shows her appreciation. I'm not taking you for granted, you know. I see what you're doing for our family. I appreciate it. You sleep in Saturday, I'm gonna bust the suds, you know.
Mhm.
And it doesn't seem like a big thing, but it is a big thing when if you're going to cook supper and you go in there and there's just a sink full of dishes and it's like, and your favorite iron skillet's dirty, it's like, it's frustrating. And, you know, it's kind of
Yeah.
unmotivating. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mhm.
but when you go in there and you're ready to cook supper or lunch or whatever, and you look and everything's clean and the dish
Mhm.
rack dried, everything's swiped off, you feel a little better about, you know, making some eggs and spam, you know. And
Mhm.
but that's how I see it now.
Yeah.
Men's got to kind of pick it up a little bit, you know. Start helping out around there, you know.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, if you're not disabled or handicapped, you know, your house is not a nursing home. Get up. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You
Ain't no
know,
flop house.
yeah, we're not bringing you meds. Get up,
Mhm.
man.
I like that. You know, well for me, I like to think of it as, whenever we get to these readings and we talk about, whatever the subject matter is, um I always I get my share from what things used to mean to me, before I realized what good was, because I was the type, I always got to go look at the bad. I have to realize what the bad is first, and where I stood, how I treated women, and how, I didn't even have love and respect for myself, so it was hard for me to understanding the true meaning of what they mean to, to me as a Cheyenne man. You know, um, I used to think of them as a tool. They were only here for one thing, and I was such a self-centered person, that their feelings or, the way I treated them, none of that really mattered. But today, I think about my grandma Mary Black Wolf Wilson, my mother Janice Wilson, my other grandma, um, Ruby Sheridan, or Bushyhead, Ruby Sheridan Bushyhead. Um, I think about, my aunts. I have so many grandmas and aunts, too many to name, all mostly from the Thomas area, a whole plethora of, strong Cheyenne women and Arapaho, strong, mostly Cheyenne, couple of Cheyenne and Arapaho, grandmas, aunties. But then I think about my sister, and then I think about, I have four daughters, my sister Marty Baker. I think about, my daughters Brianna, Leanna, Hallie, and then I got a 13-year-old daughter. Her name's Penelope, and then I have two granddaughters, Alani and Nova. And when I got sober, I'm only 4.5 years sober. So when I got sober, most of my kids were grown, and wasn't really a responsible parent. I tried to be present, I tried to show up when I could, but when you're self-centered the way that I was, you don't get to be that. I wasn't reliable. You couldn't depend on me to be in certain places at certain times, and I think about those things, like after getting sober and learning how to love myself, after getting sober, learning how to respect myself, after getting sober and learning about kindness, learning about acceptance, learning about, willingness, integrity, like all these things that seem so foreign while in my addiction. You know, I look at all these women in my life and I seen how they were all displaying these things every day, regardless of who I was, regardless of how I carried myself. When I seen these women, like they were willing to overlook all my shortcomings, and just love me for who I was, and I felt like, as a warrior, because you don't, you're still thinking as a child while in your addiction, but today as a warrior, you have this understanding that, I get the opportunity to give back. I get the opportunity to show the love, that I was so short on, and like I might have missed an opportunity with my, with Brianna, Leanna, and Hallie. I mean, I know they appreciate their dad being sober today, but now what I missed out with them, now I get to show it to their kids, to my granddaughters, and I've been fortunate enough to say, that my granddaughters have never seen me loaded, and that's like such a special thing to me in my life, because not too many people, can say that, like, you know, just about everybody in El Reno can say, man, I've seen Barry tearing it, you know, like, but you know, those two little babies, I get to, where there's hurt, there's healing, and I get to be the change that I want to see in the world. And I get to teach them, how a man should treat a woman, and how special they are and what they mean to me. And, how they can take that into the community. But, it all started with me being able to work on myself. That's how that started. You know, um, that's how that started. And I watched a video last night of a guy that said that his sponsor laid all these spiritual tools down in front of him. And he was like, he kindness, love, integrity, like all these things that just, they're spiritual tools. These are the best that I can give you, but I can't make you pick them up and use them. And he said, well, those, that's dumb. Why would I pick those up? I got a hammer, I got a sword, I got a, like I got an axe, like these are tools, and then the more and more he tried at life, that's all he had was these big manly tools, that, and it didn't get him nowhere, and finally, after trying it over and over, that insanity started to happen. Even, even though you're sober, and you don't have, you're still using those tools, finally he says, okay, I'll try kindness. Okay, I'll try love. Okay, I'll try acceptance. Okay, I'll try, like, and lo and behold, his life starts to get better. Like his life starts getting better. So then, when if you think about it, that's what those women carry all the time. Common sense. Yeah. Common sense, love, integrity, acceptance, all these spiritual tools that we're able to use today. I found those things by working on myself first. I faced the east. I had to go find the creator first. That was the most important part of my journey, was I have to face east and I have to go find the creator. Then whenever I build that relationship up with the creator, then I face south and I go find myself down there and I start working on myself. And then whenever I, completed a few more steps, then I face west and I go and find my family, and I can work on my family, 7, 8, and 9, I can work on my family. And then, whenever I've made, when I've done the work there, then, I can face north and then I can go ask for the elders' wisdom. So I mean, I've seen how my life has changed in seasons, but I also think about where the life of the women in my life, where their life, what season is their life in? And those are some of the things that I never considered. I couldn't think of anybody else but myself. I didn't know how, I didn't have the tools to create space for anybody else in my head. But once you find that freedom, once you find that peace, you're able to recognize, when things are getting out of balance.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty fortunate, with my companion, with Natalie. Like she keeps me in tip top shape, man, she made the beans and cornbread last night. I was
Yeah,
very,
Mm.
very, very thankful,
Mhm.
I couldn't, I don't know where I'd be without her. and it's definitely that balance. And I can appreciate, everything, every woman in my life, big or small, like they're all important, and you're taught as a Cheyenne man, how important they are to, we call them, we call it completing the circle. That's what our women do for us, Cheyenne men, is they complete our circle. And when you're able to say those types of things, it gives you a whole different kind of mindset about, how we are towards our women. So in Well Bridie they talked about our warriors have kind of lost their way, and our warriors are coming home though.
Hmm.
This Well Bridie movement is bringing more awareness, more education towards where our power really lies, and it's in the moccasins of our women. So that's all I really got.
We do
What?
have some comments,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this
go
was
ahead.
just throughout our talk.
Okay.
Like I know when some of these comments when we were talking
Yeah,
about,
they were coming up.
yeah, the women on how how they do some of the
Hmm.
housework, and at times, women will feel like, oh, they have all the strength now. They'll get up all the, trash and be
Yeah.
mugging you like the whole time, or sweeping or be mugging you the whole time. But anyway,
Indian women like to get mad at everybody when they start
yeah,
cleaning.
but they want you to be left alone
Yeah.
because they want it done a certain way.
Yeah.
As a woman, I can say, yeah, we want you to help, but we want to do it, our way. And so
If you can't do it my way, just stay there.
Get the hell out there.
we'll get, yeah,
Yeah.
walk away or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do something else.
Yeah, let's get some of the
But
comments in.
JC Tawny at that time, Beasley said, yes, 100. Stacy Starr says, I'm a queen of the mean mug. Laugh out loud. Just kidding. And then the waking up to, the coffee and uh, counsel on
Yeah, the Finger
alcoholism and
Lakes.
addiction. The Finger Lakes said, waking up to coffee brewing is a game changer to morning.
Hey, yeah, that's a good one.
Ruth said, when I remember to turn the timer on.
Don't put everything together.
Uh-huh.
Push the button, turn the timer on. And
But
I'll
she
go
means
up-
well. Yeah.
yeah. I'll go over there
Yeah.
and try to make coffee, and it's already full of water, and that's she just didn't hit the button.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, you don't have to say nothing. Just press a button.
but
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you anyway.
Yeah,
All I got to
definitely.
do is push the button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Natalie Hardrow at that time said, most of us are used to having an option for help. Ha ha ha. It's hard for me to get used to having anyone even offer, to be honest, but she appreciates the change in her life. Good morning, brother.
Good morning.
Gwen, you say Gwynna?
Well,
No.
nah.
Gwynna. Okay. Okay, and then Finger Lakes said, proud of you, brother, when you were talking.
Ahoo.
Bo Sam said, morning, guys.
Morning, sis.
Frida Ray said, good morning, brothers.
Morning, Frida.
Frida.
Mike to Gavin.
Then Bo again said, nowadays it isn't easy being a single mother and to hold her family down in today's world.
Yeah.
The strength she gives her family, but she also carries a lot to hold, to hold her family down. She's honored to be raised by strong Native women.
I like
and then
that.
Frida says, I'm gonna try to say it, Makai, Mayki. I don't know how you pronounce that. Makai,
Mike.
Mike,
It's like they're
Mayki.
greeting in you.
Is it? But they say like Mike,
Mike.
like Mike. Oh, okay.
Just Mike.
And what tribe is that?
You.
Ute. Oh, okay.
I think she's Southern Ute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Mike.
Mike to
Okay.
Gavin.
Okay. That's the comments we have for now.
What would you like to share a little bit about maybe a woman's perspective?
Oh, sure. Yes. Well, from my perspective, I mean, yeah, growing up, hearing, about kind of the roles of men and women, and, back in my, I would say grandparents' days, that's just how it was. The women did, a lot of the housework, stayed home, did, took care of the home, the children, and then the man would be off to work, or if it was for if they were off to what's that called
War.
yeah, back in those days, and then growing up, time changing, um, women were still, in charge of the home, children, man might went to work. And then, nowadays, well, when I was younger, seeing my parents or my grandparents, maybe both of them were at work. I remember my grandma working at IHS back in Ada when it was IHS, Carl Albert, and now it's the Chickasaw Nation Medical Center. She was working there for years. And then my grandpa, he was a minister traveling. He was working. So growing up, I grew up, both with, the mom or man and woman, both working. But then also too, I had family, which ones were just single household. It was mom, my aunt raising my nephews and nieces. But also too, in a lot of, Indian families, you have everyone kind of helping each other.
Mm-hmm.
If you have grandma living with you, aunt, uncle, or if they live down the road, you know, everyone's taking care of each other. You grow up, oh, your cousins are like your siblings, or you'd have, different family members stepping in or, helping out. And so that's some of our, we grow up with. I know too, like we talked about how we should treat our women and how, the men's roles, women's roles, but coming from a woman too, I think it's very important too, to also on how the women treat the other women in the families, how it's important, like for like you have your grandmothers, granddaughters, the elder woman, teaching the younger women, on how to, just survive, how to live, how to make it without a man or not, just how it is these days.
Yeah.
And also too for the women or how a man to be, living on his own. Like he doesn't, I mean, I know, yeah, it's when it goes back to the support of having a woman, like if you have a, married, if you have a woman relationship, that's important too. But also too, that's these days, you have guys that live on their own. Maybe they do have kids. Maybe they're single father for different reasons.
Yeah.
It's important that
I was a
they,
single father before.
yeah, how they know how to take care of themselves too. That includes home and the children, the outside, work. As for women, I was taught how to change a tire, from my dad. If I, just to know, because I was a single woman at one time before I got married and had kids, and so
What?
these days, it's important, but it's just very important too for women to support other women. We need that support, that strength, and so that's just kind of what I was thinking about as you guys were talking.
Well, I like that. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. Well, so that's pretty good. Yeah, I guess I just never really thought. There's a lot of things, that I just
Mhm.
never really put into perspective. Everything's just kind of, you know, I think one thing that kind of got me was how when I got sober, everything just kind of slowed down.
Mhm.
Before you just always need that chaos. Like because the last thing you want is to be in your own head. So like seeing things now today, life isn't fast anymore. Like I can take the time
Mhm.
to appreciate something or be grateful or know how to be thankful for something. And I think that's like the biggest difference between who I used to be and who I am today. Who am I? What am I and where am I going? Like those are three things that I like to, that's kind of been, my brother Albert Titman Sr. He's just kind of I keep asking myself those questions. Who am I? What am I? And where am I going? And you know, I want to be a good I want to be a good companion. I want to be a good father. I want to be a good grandfather. And these are like past, present, future, like endeavors, like but yeah, these are the things, that I always constantly, who am I, what am I, and where am I going? You know, and when I think about all those phases of my life, you know, I got to bring these women that mean the world to me. You know, they all mean the world to me. You know, my mom, you know, my aunties, you know, my sisters, my daughters, my nieces. You know, I got nieces that you know I consider my kids.
Mhm.
You know, they're my brothers and sisters' kids, but they're you know like I feel like they're a part of me and I'm a part of them. You know, like just like I would my own kids. So you know, it's definitely something that probably needs to be talked about more. You know, like it's because there's such a big disconnect, I believe, you know, and talking because you know because not every family is the same. There's not always a mother and a father. You know, I didn't grow up. I don't think I ever lived in a household whenever I was a kid that had a mother and father in it. You know, it was always grandmas. Maybe aunties. Maybe like there's just so many different ways that a family was built that I think some of these things weren't they were hard to bring up, because maybe of these situations. So I like the way that this book, it gives you something else to think about,
Mhm.
gives you something else to kind of, maybe pray for,
Mhm.
So, do we have
Yeah.
any more comments?
Yes. Alan Fletcher, he asked, how come the turkey got kicked out of AA? Was he using too much foul language?
This guy. Well, I grew up in the AA program, and I did my fourth step and fifth step, and um, after doing my fifth step, man, there was a lot of crap wrong with me.
Oh yeah,
I had a bad perception on a lot of things.
yeah,
How I saw things was just completely untrue,
yeah,
you know, but it was easier for me to believe what I wanted to believe
Mhm.
than to seek the truth, find the truth, and apply the truth,
yeah,
and later on, after I was clean and sober, my aunt started filling in pieces. This is why this is why that is, and things started making sense. And it
Mhm.
even after several years, after being sober for maybe 5 or 6 years, my aunt's filling in these pieces, you know, the light bulb's still trying to come on, and
yeah,
then it just leads me back to where, like, I didn't get this sick in one day. It didn't happen overnight. It took years and years and years for me to get
yeah,
this sick,
yeah,
and twisted, and so it's going to take a long time for me to get healthy again. I can just say I'm not as sick as I was, and being with Ruth for 33 years, almost 33 years, was sometimes, we just kind of blurt things out at each other. And I'm like, I want my rib back,
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that, and, and that's just kind of the way things are. But,
Hmm.
I had to fix myself before I could do anything with my son and wife and try to, um, make things better for him,
Mhm.
and I went from causing damage to the home to protecting the home.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And this need was instilled in me to protect him from anything and everything, and you know and I take my recovery seriously, and
Mhm.
I'm really strict about my rules, and if you attack my recovery, I'll bite your head off, man. I mean,
yeah,
well, and what I'm saying is I got a friend, that was he'd do 2 or 3 years clean, and then he'd relapse for a couple of weeks, and he'd jump back up on there, and he might do 4 or 5 years, and then he would relapse,
Mhm.
and I think one time he had 7 years, and he relapsed, My son got me a new phone for Father's Day a couple of years back, so I called him, let him know this is my new number, and
Mhm.
He said one sign of unmanageability is not being able to keep the same phone number. Your life is unmanageable. I looked at him. I was like, I didn't look at him. I thought at that time, it was a couple of years. I said, "Well, I've managed to achieve 24 years clean and sober living consecutively." You know what consecutively means? He was like, "Yeah, I think I do." And I was like, "One right after the motherfucking other." And he was like, "Okay, I get your point, Ron. Don't you attack my recovery, man. I come out." I
Mhm.
mean, that's one of the things I like about working here with Tor and you guys, all the group and everything, is we say things back and forth. But somebody on the outside, you say something about Barry and you're not in our group, we're all like growling and snarling, and they don't even work here. Different. We're all
They
going
don't
on.
even go
I
here.
know it.
You don't even know the guy.
I know. It's 10 o'clock. You know where your kids are?
Yeah,
I remember that as a kid on TV.
yeah, on news.
Yeah, yeah.
My mom and dad they bring that up sometimes.
Oh yeah,
But I'm not done healing, so I'm
Mm.
still trying to
Yeah.
heal. And
daily maintenance.
well, yeah,
Mhm.
I got to figure out how Ruth wants the dishes washed. I haven't been able to do that. She's like, I appreciate you doing the dishes, but can you wear your glasses when you do them? And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I know that conversation.
Growing up, I that was one of my like chores, washing dishes. But I knew what my mom was trying to help me. Growing up and
Yeah.
having these chores, but it's really they're teaching you, life skills,
Life
home
skills,
skills.
yeah.
Because you're going to have to wash dishes nowadays. I prefer to wash dishes sometimes too than the dishwasher because they just don't get that
Yeah.
scrubbing like. But growing up, that reminded me what he was talking about. My brother, he did it too, but he had other chores too. And so, like, I don't know. One day I was like surprised. I was kind of like confused because my dad said, "Josh, wash the dishes." My brother, and he was like,
What?
"Okay." He's trying to wash him, and I'm kind of watching him, but I'm, not trying to pay too much attention. And then he's like, "Okay, I'm done." And then my dad was like, "Brittany, can you rewash those again?" He didn't, he didn't. I'm like, "All right."
Yeah. Do we have any more comments?
Yeah. Let me go back. Oh, after that one about the turkey, Natalie Hardrow said, "Na- "Is it Waka Waka? Waka Waka?
I don't know.
I don't know if I'm saying it right. WAKKA."
Isn't that from like Sesame Street? Waka Waka.
No,
Waka.
that's the Muppets, but
That's the Muppet.
no.
Waka waka waka.
Waka Waka Waka. I don't. Leslie Bowtone asked, "Just pray for my sister Crystal."
Mm-hmm.
Kimber,
Always.
Kimberly Sexton said, "I want to say it sounds like OCO.
So
OCO. What is that?
that's like a greeting in Cherokee.
Is it okay? Okay." Leslie Bowtone said, "I'm going to AA classes today at 6 tonight."
Good deal.
Natalie said, "I don't like dishwasher either. Ours is a glorified storage area."
Yeah, it
Okay.
sure is.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've ever used it. My granddaughter learned how to turn it on. I think she turned it on. There was like groceries and stuff in there.
Oh no.
So we had to use. Now it's just like for pans now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Misty Hickson says, oh, let me go. "No matter how many times men do the dishes, they will never be clean enough."
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I get it. I
But
get
there's
it.
some, I will say, there's some men that do the dishes. So
Well, yeah, I was single for
Hmm.
a long time before,
Yeah,
got
like,
with
yeah.
Ruth. And Ruth will tell you, and this is a true story. The first time I met Ruth, I made her sick. I mean, she was throwing up sick.
Oh my.
Wow. She's a
I was,
trooper.
I was sitting there making gagging noises and different stuff. She took off. We got sick.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's a true story. So So we always say that. The first time I met him, he made me sick. And it's true. I did. I made her sick, you know. And
That's when you knew it was love. Huh?
you know, but I think, you know, Ruth and I just, you know, grateful that we don't have to worry about our son being out anywhere, you know, and gone all the time and have to worry about him or anything. You know, he's a good young man. He just goes to work. He does his own laundry too, you know. Ruth don't have to do our laundry for us, you know, and my nephew Eddie, he does his own laundry, you know. And, so we try to be self-supporting. Being single for a long time, you learn how to cook.
Yeah, you learn how to do all
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to learn how to do all that, you know, and it's just I don't know. That's why my mom made me wash dishes, so I'd learn how to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
Mhm.
you know. And growing up with my grandparents, I was spoiled though, you know. And I was probably about 11 years old when I tasted store-bought milk, you know, in the gallon, you know,
Mm.
and I thought it tasted funny. And I was
Mm.
telling my mom, "That's not milk. That's not milk. It is milk. Look, it smells it. That's not milk, you know." And it was like, "Show me what milk is." I took her to the other side of the fridge and showed her that case of canned milk, evaporated milk.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's milk. That's not milk. I said, "That is milk. I don't know what that is. Is that what you want?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I want." And she got it, and I said, "You got to mix it with water. You got to." I just show her how to mix my own milk, you know. And
Mm.
Yeah. My Aunt Mary Lou used to make some good gravy with that milk.
man,
Mhm.
you know, I've been a cook in and out of kitchen since '88. That's one thing I've only been able to achieve at one time was to make gravy. And it only happened one time, but every time after that, I ruin it. And I don't know what I'm doing and what I'm not doing.
Mm,
I can't make gravy. I just can't.
get out. Yeah. Gotta have that gravy, huh?
Mm.
You make gravy, Brittany?
I have. Yeah, I know how to.
It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Taylor does too.
Got to boil the water.
Yes. But growing up, my grandma, oh, she made good gravy. It was good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Some gravy.
I was talking with an elder, and it was really different. Like, you know, some of us screw up, you know. And I'm not saying I'm that old school or anything, but
Mhm.
growing up with my grandparents, we didn't have a lot of money, so I never had a brand new bike.
Mhm.
But I knew when I was getting one because there'd be a frame on the back porch. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
bike. Pretty soon there's a rim, you know. Pretty soon there's a handlebar, you know.
Mhm.
You know, about halfway through the summer, he's putting it together, you know. And,
Yeah.
all right, I got a bike, you know.
Mhm.
But it wasn't brand new, but Grandpa put it together.
Hmm. Well, that's cool. Do we have any more comments before we get off of this bad boy?
Back to when we were just talking about, how, growing up, kids might, have chores to do, to teach, Leslie Botone said, my son Christian, he has chores that he has to do when he gets home from school. And I think, that's important to
Yeah.
teach our
Home training.
kids.
You need that home.
They might think it's a punishment or, but really it's,
No,
I
it's a
mean,
life skill.
yeah. And they might not understand, but it teaches them,
Yeah.
helps them become responsible. And even now I can say my girls, yeah, they're what, 3, 4, and 5, but they like I'll be doing laundry and I'm trying to get it done, and I'll be like, hey baby, you need to go play, don't bother me. But what they're trying to do is help me because they're trying to take it out. They're watching me do it. So I want to help you. And so they may try to fold it and put it, in a stack like I do it, because that's what they see me do. And so
Yeah. They'll
I say
always.
when they're at the right age to where they can understand what you're doing and they want to help you, that can be a good teaching moment.
Definitely. Definitely.
Go ahead and let him do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, laundry needs to be done. Put it in that washer.
Yeah.
Hurry up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do y'all have anything else y'all want to share? Or?
No, man, I'm just glad and grateful. I've got a job I really love. I like doing what I'm
Mhm.
doing. You know, I really like this is more what I wanted to do a long time ago. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and my rewards, I get my rewards is that I know I helped somebody in some way,
Mhm.
little small,
Yeah.
just an encouraging word, and you know, just something I get enjoyment out of that. I get rewards out of that. You know, and um, you know, sometimes we talk to newcomers, people that are really young, got 6 months or clean, 4 months clean. You know,
Mhm.
and one thing that popped out at me was they're saying things that was told to me when I was a newcomer, and they're repeating things that I learned 25 years ago and I had forgotten about.
Mhm.
And then they're saying it, and I'm remembering, oh, yeah, yeah, I
Mhm.
remember that. I remember it says that in the big book. I can find no peace or serenity until I can accept things exactly as they are at that moment.
At that moment.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm like, wow, that's cool. And then
Mhm.
you watch a video or something. The guy says, you know, you got a cup of coffee, and you're walking along, and somebody bumps into you, and you spill your coffee. Why did you spill coffee? Somebody bumped into me. He goes, no, because coffee was in your cup. If you had water in your cup, you would spill water.
Mhm.
So it matters what we carry with us
Mhm.
to what we spill out, even when
Mhm.
somebody bumps into us.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
that.
So we were carrying happiness and laughter.
Kindness.
Somebody, yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
somebody
Yeah.
bumps into us. That's what we're going to spill out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know. So
I like that.
Hmm.
yeah, it
That's
was just
cool.
a video of someone. I don't remember where I saw it, but
Yeah.
it's been a week ago. I don't remember what I did 2 days ago. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I like that. Thank you for sharing that with us. And that's all the comments that we have before we get off of here.
Let's see.
right, you gotta go bathroom.
Oh, council on or Finger Lakes. They said you gotta have a purpose.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's
Find your
important.
purpose.
Mhm.
Who am I? What am I? Where am I going?
Mhm.
Those are, and if you're struggling today,
Mhm.
I like to always, there's always this maintenance that I go through at the end of my night. You know, where am I at spiritually?
Mhm.
Because when your spirit's off, everything else is off.
Mhm.
Spiritually, that's very important in my recovery is realizing where I'm at spiritually. And then that always affects, my emotional, where am I at emotionally? And then, maybe my mental, where am I at mentally? That plays in, they all have a part to do with each other. And my physical, sometimes I think, like me sitting here right now, like I'm safe. I got this medicine burning. Like there's different things. Like my physical is okay. But then there's what else affects my physical. Sometimes it can be people. Sometimes it can be places, and sometimes it can be things. People, places, and things. They can play a part of my physical. So I like to when I'm just kind of sitting there, dozing off, those are, it's crazy because, I'll be dreaming about my recovery, or have a using dream or whatever, like
Mhm.
it always, I wake up grateful. When I have a using dream, I wake up, grateful because then I see that it was just a dream. And to me, that's like one of the worst nightmares I could ever have.
You're
Mhm.
exactly right. Because even after, like, I count 26 years, and I count them because I feel like I earned every day of that. Every single day I earned it. From where I was to where I am.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows me knows that the Creator does work miracles.
Yeah.
So, but I count every one of them. But
Well, that's all I really got today.
yeah, oh, yeah, I'm just glad I like working with some of the newcomers. Because like,
Yeah.
man, they're reminding me, refreshing my memory. And
Yeah. Get my engine going again.
then my
Mhm.
nephew, he switched shifts. And he told me he switched shifts, but he didn't tell me they switched days off. And so I was like, he was like, well, I'm headed to work. I'm like, it is Wednesday. This is normally his day off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you remember the conversation that we had this morning? I'm like, I'm not that old yet. Yeah, I remember. And he was thinking because it was like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
that
still
I was
asleep.
still asleep, and I'm thinking like, do you think I'm losing it? Do you see something I don't see? Do you remember our conversation? I'm like, yeah. So, but anyway, so I'm so glad my faculties are still there. I don't remember.
oh.
Well, thank you, Uncle. Thank you for coming on with us, and thank you, Brittany.
Oh, yeah. I'm always,
You know, Thank
happy
you.
to, sit in
Appreciate
and
your help. Appreciate
appreciate
your
it.
perspective.
Yeah. We did
and-
have 2 more comments.
Yeah, go ahead.
JC Tony Beasley said, very grateful and blessed. Love
Oh.
always encouraging others, helping others. And yes, serenity prayer, kindness. Finger Lake said, thank you all. It was a great show.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And hopefully our crew gets back here safely.
Ruth said he lost it. He just hasn't accepted it. Just kidding. Levi said South Coast.
South Coast Behavioral.
Mhm.
I got to give a big shout out to, I got family over there. That's
Mhm.
that whole South Coast bunch over there is my family, So not only, I got a nephew, a brother, got a brother facilitating, got some sisters over there, Shannon and Robin, I got Justin Evans who helped change my life. A
Mhm.
5-minute conversation with that man changed my life forever. So,
Mhm.
My brother Dallas and his companion Aaron, they're doing great things over there. To all the clients, sit down, open your ears and close your mouth. Let the Creator, show you a new way of life, because we've already tried it your way, right?
Mhm.
We've already tried it your way. Open your mind and have the willingness to accept the help that's offered to you. So, like, share, follow. With that,
Mhm.
I want to say, aho.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Like, share, follow. Tell your mammy about us.
There you go.
And yeah, we will
Okay.
see you tomorrow.
Yuck,
Thank
okay.
you, Podfather.
yeah,
Trapeze
go ahead and
show.
go ahead and end it.
Okay.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Stop!